Jeffrey, tell us a little about O'Connor and Associates in San Francisco.
We do a whole range of different types of civil litigation. So usually business related litigation is the best way I would describe it.
So, what are some of the unique things about the nature of your practice that a software tool such as Liquid Text might be able to positively impact?
I remember I first was introduced to Liquid Text when I saw a video of another attorney who had been using that software along with other software. And I watched his presentation and he put up slides, etc. It was like a webinar. I was so impressed with the way he used all of these tools that I reached out to our IT person because I've been a lifetime Windows user. Uh, and some of these tools that were being displayed were unique to Apple iOS uh, platform. So I said, can I use these tools on Windows? And at that time, I don't think Liquid Text was compatible with Windows. So I was so impressed. I went and got an iPad and I got all of these tools. I bought Liquid Text, and then we were collaborating. Uh, at that time, I'm not sure what the state of collaboration was on Liquid Text. We would basically email back and forth the Liquid Text file that had all of the notes and markups, etc., to build on the work as opposed to everybody starting at the bottom and kind of climbing the uh, ladder together about how to learn the facts of a case. I felt that was very useful. It's really um, really unique and insightful tool to to bring out, to kind of uncover the facts behind the facts, if you will. So like pinching together text and drawing lines between section A and section B, and moving things out to the margin, comments on that, and now of course they've increased where now you can have different workspaces in this with the same document, and then draw connections between the workspaces. They've really done a good job, I feel, in terms of making it more useful, more collaborative. That's an overview of how I use it to this day, and have used it in the past in a more collaborative fashion, which I thought was very useful. I found reading, it's almost like reading somebody's mind. I just find it to be so intuitive, so useful. So, you don't have to shuffle pages around. You can just link two things together, uh, explain why you're doing it in a little text box in the workspace or something. It's really a remarkable tool, of analytical tool. That's what it is. I try not to output anything. I don't want to print anything really. I felt Liquid Text was particularly helpful in teasing out of facts from documents. I mean, one use that I put it to is I put in the entirety of the California jury instructions. It's called CACI. It's California Approved Civil Instructions, because we do, some fair amount of jury trial work, and these are the instructions that are given to in every case. I mean, if I'm guessing, but I would say all of the instructions are 2,500 pages. It's a huge document. And I'd create a workspace for each file that we had, which would only have notes and links, etc., to the jury instructions that pertain to that particular case. So I'd have one big jury instruction document, and then I have a whole number of workspaces where I would take that one document and then in the workspace I would annotate that for the case that I was working on. It's good because I can just see the document on its own, and then I can see how it applies to each case that I would use these civil jury instructions on. One thing I've observed is many lawyers make notes on legal pads. And, that's just a habit they have, and they write this stuff down, and that's nowhere. You'll never find that again. And if you do, you won't remember what you were talking about. It's not really very useful. I'm not sure it's really a time saver. It's how to capture your thoughts and keep them somewhere where you can get there again. It's really capturing your ideas, keeping them in a place where you can find them again. And for me, it's more of a improvement of focus and improvement of service, because now I've read this, I know what I thought when I read it, and I can come back to that and say, oh, somebody else over here said XYZ, and I'll add a new note in there. But it's cumulative, it's not linear. That's what I see as its primary advantage. Not so much saving time, but capturing your work in a usable way. Once you've got it, you've got it. Lawyers don't work on one case from A to Z and then move on to the other. They got, 10, 15, 18 cases up in the air at all times. So capturing it when you're doing it and being able to come back to it and have your notes and know what you were thinking because you wrote it down and it's attached to the document. It's really a very clever idea. If I was going to argue a motion, I'd put in a folder. Here are all the moving papers. Here are all the opposing papers. Here's the reply. Here's the tentative ruling. Here's an outline of argument, all accessible, snap of the finger. And one of the devils of being a lawyer really is I read something. I know I read something. I know it exists. Can't find it. Don't know where I put it. Boom, it's right there. I just find that to be a really useful way to practice. I wish I would have had it a long time ago. And I do use links either to the workspace or to another spot in the document. Like you pinch two things together and then draw a little line, and then you expand it to its normal, look, and then you press on either one and it goes to the other. I find that to be very useful. I typically, if there's a document that I would use in several different cases, like, for example, the jury instructions, that's the one that I use the most where I have multiple workspaces. Because case A workspace, then I take from this massive jury instructions and I grab the ones that I need for case A. And then I will have another workspace, case B, and I will do the same for that. So I know what I've got. I can look at it as I am prepping jury instructions. I find it to be a very good tool just for general legal research, aside from jury instructions. I watched this lawyer on a webinar manipulating the document, like pinching it and saying, oh, you see, he says in paragraph 85, he doesn't say that in 4, and the ability to compare things like right together, I thought was really interesting. And I started using it. I saw the benefit really pretty immediately, honestly.